How's it going, guys? Cameron here with Canadian Gamer. Just a short but special episode, and I've been meaning to do this the last couple of nights. I've just been really busy, guys. I apologize for not pumping out a lot of content lately. When you work for a living, it's not always realistic to try to pump out 3 to 4 videos a week. It's not realistic expectations for me to try to do that if I want the video to be of somewhat good quality. And I told myself a long time ago this channel would be all about the quality, nothing but quality. I don't want to be just pumping out content but not have a long-lasting appeal, not be able to keep the videos that I put out as a historical piece on my timeline where I can go back and look at it, with the exception of obviously some of my parody videos, but we won't go there. But today is a special video. Obviously, this week is a big week for PlayStation. 25th anniversary, 25 years since the original PlayStation came out back in 1994, at least in the Japanese market. And then obviously, I believe it came out in North America in 1995, if I'm not mistaken. So why is this episode special? So obviously, you guys saw the thumbnail, so you clicked on it out of morbid curiosity. So let me get down and dirty with what happened here and give you the skinny on how I obtained that white whale. So basically, last Sunday I was on Kijiji. Kijiji is kind of like a Craigslist, if you will. You go on there and there's used ads, and a lot of times you're shopping for used games. A great tip is to check Kijiji or Craigslist. A lot of times if you can pick up a used game or a console variation on Kijiji, the price is going to be much cheaper than if you go on eBay. I haven't really, to be honest with you, purchased any video games off of eBay in probably 2 to 3 years. The prices are just outrageous. Unless it's something I really can't find in the wild, I'll resort to eBay because it's easier just to purchase it on eBay than to spend, like I said before, a tank worth of gas driving around, wear and tear in your car, looking for something you may never find. So, on Sunday I went on Kijiji. Those of you who have been watching my videos, I'm trying to shore up my loose cart collection for the Sega Genesis in my Genesis room. I'm having a ball with that. So I'm on Kijiji Sunday and I'm looking up Sega Genesis, looking at all the listings. Nothing's really catching my eye except for one seller. He had his ads on Kijiji, you could see what he had. He had all kinds of stuff, ranging from, vintage dolls to, a lot of retro stuff from the 70s and 80s. Not really video game related, but he had a loose cart. What did he have there? Outrun for the Sega Genesis, which is a pricey game on eBay. It's $40 to $50, and he was selling it for $20. And I asked him if he would take $15, and he wouldn't budge. Anyways, while I'm looking at the ads, all of a sudden, what pops up on my radar? A white PS2 fat model. And my eyes jumped out of my head like a little kid in a candy store, because those of you who are up with your console variations and you know a lot about it, you'll know that the white variant, or even any colored PS2 is pretty rare, because nowadays color variations are not rare. It's quite common practice, especially with the PS3 and the PS4 and the Xbox 360, and especially the Xbox One. I think there's over 125 different Xbox One variations out there. It's gotten out of control. I think we kind of have to give Apple and Nintendo some credit for this, because back in the mid-90s, obviously some of the iMacs were, I don't know if it was the iMac or it was just the Apple computer. I remember it was like a translucent colored, blue, pink, purple, and then Nintendo followed suit with the N64, so that kind of spearheaded a trend, I guess you could say. However, obviously the PS2 is not a rare console. How are we doing for time here? 5 minutes? We'll keep going. The PS2 is not a rare console by any means. It's the best-selling console of all time. But the colored variants of that console can be, in some cases, quite rare. In this case, the white PS2, specifically the fat model, if you do your research, there's a great website out there, and I'll put it in the link in the description below. It's called consolevariations.com. If you go to that website, now he doesn't have everything because there's a lot out there, but for the most part, this guy's got categorized for every video game console ever created, every single variant with pictures and a description and the year it came out. And excuse me, it's really interesting to go on there and see all the different variants. He's got it for controllers, he's got it for consoles with bundled pack-in games. It's really interesting. So I went on there and I wanted to take a closer look because, again, the white PS2. And actually, before I get to that, I messaged the guy on Kijiji, and it looked like some kid because the picture was like the PS2 kind of in like a bedroom, and it looked like a teenager's bedroom. And I'm not big on Kijiji because I don't like meeting up with people in person. And I've said it before, you know, you don't know who you're meeting. Obviously, if I meet someone on Kijiji and they're younger, that looks kind of odd if a 36-year-old's meeting some young person in a parking lot. You know, regardless if it's just a video game transaction, it's still kind of weird. So I try to avoid Kijiji, you know, unless I really see something that I really want. So you got to be careful with it. So I messaged the guy. I know this is long-winded. I messaged the guy, you know, hey, is this PS2 still available? He was asking $100, and it almost sounded too good to be true. I said, is it still available? And I didn't get any response. I'm like, oh, fuck. I even talked about this a couple videos ago. And then, sure enough, I think it was Tuesday rolls around. I finally get a message out of the blue. It says, sorry, I'm late responding to this. It is still available, he says. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, will you take $80? And I didn't get a response. I'm like, oh, great. He thinks I'm lowballing him. And then I messaged him again, and I'm like, is it still available? And I was this close to just saying, I'll give you 100. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's still available. He's like, yeah, I'll take 80. And then, again, the problem with Kijiji is a lot of times, you know, it gets down to, like, the person either wants you to drive all the way to their place, or it's always just hard to make the stars align when you want to meet somebody. Anyways, this guy, I was off work at 4:30, and I said I could be there at 5:30. He lived on the other end of town, and it's rush hour traffic. I have to go over a bridge, Christmas rush, snowy weather, all the rest of it. So, like, I'm putting myself on the limb here, but I really want this PS2. And anyways, so I told him I could go over to his place at 5:30 to pick it up, and I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. So I go on to Console Variations, and I look it up, and I didn't, my own fault, I didn't do all the research I probably should have done. So if you go on to Console Variations, there's actually two or three different variants of the white PS2. There's a pearl white, and there was only 2,000 of them ever made. Apparently they were released in the US and in Japan. And then there's a snow white, which is often referred to as a ceramic white. I know it gets confusing. There's only 2,000 of those as well. At least that's what I read. And then there's an automotive edition, which came out, I think, in 2004, and there's 4 different colors of the automotive. There's like a glossy blue, a glossy red, a gray, a yellow, and sorry, there might be a white on that, I'm not sure. So anyways, this guy's ad said it was the pearl white PS2, and it was region free, and I'm like, wow, this can't be. What the hell is, like, because where I am, I'm near Ottawa, Ontario, and it's not a big city, and I guess anything's possible, but how does a PS2 that rare end up in Ottawa, and this guy doesn't know what he has, he's offering it for $80? I'm like, this is too good to be true. Like, I've never seen a white PS2 fat model. I don't even know if I've ever seen a colored PS2 fat model. Maybe a pink. I'm not quite sure. So anyways, I'm busy. You know, I work all week. I don't have time to do a lot of research. I didn't ask the guy for the serial number. But, you know, the unit looked pretty clean. So anyways, the day comes, and, you know, I text him back. I'm like, 5:30 still on? He's like, sure. I get off work. He texts me. He's like, can I meet you sooner? I'm like, what the hell? So then we start texting back and forth. Again, this is the problem with Kijiji. We start texting back and forth while I'm driving. And then finally we agree to meet halfway. So it's fucking freezing out. And so anyways, I meet up with this guy. And he pulls up. And he gets out. Sure enough, it's a fucking kid. Now, he must have been like 20 years old. And he comes up to me, and I'm like, hey. I'm like, yeah, I'm just the guy messaging you off Kijiji. And I'm like, you said it's the pearl white model. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, well, actually, he's like, I don't really play video games. He's like, I'm just a reseller. So he's just like Warehouse Dave. Except I think Warehouse Dave probably plays video games. So this kid's like, I'm just a reseller. He's like, I picked this PS2 up with someone else in Ottawa, and I'm not a PS2 guy, and I just want to resell this one. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't even know, like. So he pulls it out of his bag, and the fucking thing's gleaming, like it's just like mint. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, for $80, I mean, I can't go wrong as long as this thing is working. And he gives me the PS2, and he's got a bag in his hand, and I'm like, well, what's in the bag? And he's like, the cables and the controller. I'm like, you're going to give me that too, right? He almost hesitated. He wasn't going to give it to me. So I got it all for $80. Obviously, I threw it in the car. Who knows if the console works. At this point, I didn't even know if it was the pearl white PS2. Was it the ceramic white? Was it the snow white? I have no fucking idea. So then I come home, and, I start doing my research. And there's so many different models. I found a website. I'll put the link in the description below. Any of you guys that are familiar with the serial numbers for the PS2, a lot of them, I think it's like an SCPH. Basically, that's the serial number you need to go by on the back. So I looked it up, and it's an SCPH 50,000 model. So it is rare, but I don't think it's limited to 2,000 models. But it's pretty rare. Even if you look on eBay, there's not too many fat modeled white PS2. So I'm rambling. So let's get on with the show. Let me show you what it looks like. So it's legit and it's clean, and this is probably the holy grail piece of my collection right now. I'm so ecstatic to have this. So here it is. It's a white fat PS2. Like I said, it does work. I did turn it on last night, and also as well on the back, it even says on the back here, NTSC, and then it's got a J. So it is region free, with the exception of European games that won't work on it. The connector on the back is different. It's got it's like the same type of connector like you guys are familiar with, but it's got two circles, whereas the North American fat PS2, one is a circle, and then the edge of the connector on the other end is sort of straight, if you know what I mean. So luckily he gave me the right connector to go along with it. And man, just take a moment to take a look at that. I don't know if you guys can make it out. It's just gorgeous. It's like almost like at night I put an LED light that kind of shines on it, and it's almost like a Miami Vice vibe. Just having the LED light shine against the white console. It's just so beautiful. I don't know if Joel the Last Gamer has one of these. I don't think John Hancock has one of these. I know MJR doesn't have one of these. So like I said, it's extremely rare. I don't know if there's a hard drive inside. I haven't popped it open yet. Again, I just picked this up recently. But man, I thought it was so gorgeous, and I wanted to do video, and I'm sorry if I'm ranting and rambling here, but I'm just, I'm ecstatic. I can't believe I picked this up for $80. I don't have the white controller, the original controller that goes with it, but I mean, I don't care at this point. I'm just happy to have this. And it's super clean. There's no dings, no dents, no scratches, no signs of abuse. So if you go on eBay and you look up, again, it's the SPCH 50,000 model. I think it signifies either 500,000 units sold or 50,000, I'm not sure. But these typically go for about $200 on eBay right now. One of the reasons why I wanted this was because there's actually a lot of Japanese imports that we never got in North America for the PS2. The game library is so amazing. But also as well, I watched on Avalanche Reviews, which is a great channel. He reviewed Silent Hill 3, which I've always wanted to play. However, the game is extremely rare and expensive right now, at least the North American copy. It's hard to find, and it's going upwards of $60 to $70 on eBay. However, the Japanese version of Silent Hill 3 is cheaper. It's about $20 to $30 on eBay, and you can flip it to English subtitles so you can play it in English. So why wouldn't I pick that up? So, like I said, I'm extremely, very, very, very happy to have this in my collection. It's absolutely gorgeous. I like the fact that I don't have to mod the PS2 that I have. I just don't have the time to do that. So this is like I said, as far as I'm concerned, this is a chase piece. It's extremely rare. There's not really a lot known about this console. I'm pretty sure this is again an overseas Japan release, and I've never seen one with my own two eyes before until now. So that's pretty much going to do it, guys. Again, sorry for the long-winded video. I just had to explain the story of how this went down. And yeah, unfortunately it's not, the rare 2000 model where there's only 2000 made. Again, that's the pearl white, which has more of a pearl shininess, glossiness to it. So I guess this would be considered the ceramic white. I don't know how many units were produced, but like I said, that's pretty much it. And when you start it up and when you boot it up, even the menu you get for the PS2 menu, it's different than the North American menu. The menu looks the same, but there's a crazy ambient noise of the ocean that plays when you're staring at the boot up screen. It's absolutely incredible. So if you guys ever get a chance to snag up one of these, like I said, it's well worth it. It plays NTSC and Japan discs as well. It's absolutely probably the greatest piece in my collection right now. I am so happy to have this. So that's going to do it, guys. That's it for this video. I really appreciate you guys listening to my story. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, take care.